What's up, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast inspiring young rock and metal fans to discover new music, feeling desire to connect and feel accepted. Hey, everybody, we're doing a special Wednesday episode of the podcast. Why are we doing a special Wednesday episode? Because this band right here has been on the podcast twice. It's their third time on, but got a different member on as well because how do I describe it? This band, the best way to describe them is Randy Marsh fighting the Bat Dad, getting up and saying, "Hey, I didn't hear no bell." You're going to find out all about why. But before we jump into that, I want to thank sponsorship for the podcast, which comes from Phoenix Fitness. So you guys know one of my favorite things to do is go in those mosh pits and be in there from the beginning of the first band to the end of the headliner and anywhere in between and not jump out of there. If you guys saw me during those Rise Against shows at the Metro at the end of March, beginning of April, yeah, you know exactly what it's like. So in order to make sure I can do that, I got to say what I call mosh pit fit. So what is that? I got to make sure I'm constantly going to the gym, doing as much cardio as I can to keep that endurance up and lift enough weight so that I can deliver those hits. And I know I'm not the biggest dude in the pit, so I got to be able to take some of those hits. I got to be able to have as much fun as possible because that is my happy space. I know what happiness is because of that stuff, but I also make sure I'm preparing and recovering right in order to help achieve my fitness goals to the best of my ability. And you can do that too and get mosh pit fit with us through the help of Phoenix Fitness. They have major types of supplements to help you achieve those fitness goals and get mosh pit fit. They have types of pre-workouts, both stim and stim-free. I use the stim-free stuff because, guys, my energy normally, can you imagine me on a bunch of caffeine and like other stimulants in pre-workout? It'd be too crazy. My heart might explode. They also have types of B7 recovery compounds to help you absorb nutrients into your muscles directly after a workout. They also do different types of creatine to help you build muscle, different types of proteins to build muscle, collagen-based protein, plant-based protein, whey-based protein. I use their chocolate malt flavored whey protein because, that's good stuff. Multivitamins, literally anything you need to achieve your fitness goals, Phoenix Fitness has for you. So our listeners and watchers on YouTube can get 20% use the code CPP20 at fnxfit.com, link description of the podcast. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Now time for feature presentation. We have Saving Vice back, everybody. And they're the band that'll never say die and the one that says, "Hey, I didn't hear no bell." You ready to find out why? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. This is what I would like to call a very special episode because the band we're talking today, it's this band's third time on the podcast, but this guy's first time. And if there's any way to describe this band and everything they have been through, it has to be the South Park episode where Randy Marsh is beating up on all of the little league dads. He's taking on the Bat Dad, and he comes up and says, "Hey, I didn't hear no bell." That is the perfect epitome for this band. The amount of issues when it comes to touring with people dropping off them and them somehow salvaging them and pushing forward is intense, and it happened once again, but now they're going on their own headlining run called the End of Winter Tour. It starts out in Sacramento, California on April 13th, and if you get a chance to go and see it, I highly suggest it because if you like metalcore, this is the way to go. So please welcome Kenjamin from the band Saving Vice of the podcast. So Kenjamin, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks for being on, man. How has everything been going in your world as of late? I mean, I know for you guys, every time I ask that question, it's always something completely crazy and different, but how has everything been going?
The last few days, spirits have really been high. Everyone's having a good time. We're just kind of really looking forward to this. I mean, it was literally the third time in the last calendar year. I think it was 10 months ago where the first time this happened. And, we just don't like to give up. It's like, we just want to play, we just want to get out there. We just want to do everything that we're supposed to be doing, and that's just what it is, but we're really stoked about this. We're really happy to be doing it.
I mean, you guys definitely have that never say die mentality, and it has shown up, especially you just take a look at the last calendar year. Third time this has happened, you guys, and everything that happened around that first time with the bus as well. It's stuff that, it tests your integrity and it tests your endurance and your mental fortitude as a band. And I really don't know many bands or if any other band could have had that happen to them on this many occasions and have continued to persevere through it. So that speaks a lot to you guys, not only as people, but as a band as a whole.
I mean, it's so easy just to be like, oh, this isn't going to happen the way we want it to. We could just kind of give up right now. We can just kind of just be like, all right, let's book something else, blah, blah, but it's like, a lot of us really have to drive of just kind of like, screw that, it's already booked and everything. We're going to do that. We're going to go out there. We're going to give, our friends and our fans like exactly what we promised them, so. we're making it happen.
Absolutely. So with this most recent, time that it happened, so how did this all happen to you guys? Where another tour you were set to go on, ready to go, and then all of a sudden the headliner just, that's it. Like, so what all happened in this one?
Like I'm gonna try and be as nice as possible about it, just like for obvious reasons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But so literally this tour was in the works for like 6 to 8 months. Until last year we had a new booking agent we were working with, and he said he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you out with that all that a band I mentioned earlier when we were talking from Vegas and Vampires Everywhere. And that ended up not happening. So, fast forward 6 months later, our booking agent's like, okay, you're going out with Vampires Everywhere. We have a couple other bands, Scythe Gang 666 and Mirror Lake from Texas and Washington, I believe. And they're like, yeah, we're going to have you guys out there. We're going to announce one leg of the tour. And here's a secret, actually. We were supposed to announce a second leg of the tour that had 3 more weeks of additional dates of areas that we'd never even been to before. It's like, Seattle area being one of them, things like that. But so literally just last week, I think it was like Thursday or something. I was home for the day. I was working on things, and I saw an email come through because we were trying to get our advances in advance, as you would want and everything. And we saw one come through that was from a promoter in like Arizona that said, "We actually heard this tour got canceled this morning." And I screenshot that, sent it to our business chat. I'm just like, "What's going on here?" And everyone's like, "Oh, that's got to be a misunderstanding." And then later on in the day, like, so little segue. I'm part of a different band actually from the Pennsylvania/New Jersey area. I'm not gonna give you the name because we're not doing anything right now. But one of my members in there is in a different band called Life Right Now, who was supposed to be on the second leg of that run. And in that band chat, he sent a screenshot from an agent that he knows who was working with our booking agent, saying like, "Oh, that band is canceled this morning, like the entire tour, like it's off, like it's not happening for anyone." And like then I called Robbie, our guitarist, and I'm just like, "Dude, we have some problems going on here. Like, what's going on?" And probably about an hour and a half later, he put a message in our business chat and said, "I'm sorry, but everything you guys heard is true. Vampires Everywhere canceled. They had a better opportunity offered to them that they couldn't refuse, I guess." And we all just kind of put our phones down that day and said, "Let's talk tomorrow. We'll figure this out." And then literally the following day, we were on like a Skype call for 4+ hours, just kind of like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? We had our booking agent on there, and it was just decided, like, you know what, we're gonna call every promoter right now, and we're gonna take it on as a headliner tour. So that's pretty much the simplified version of it.
I mean, there's plenty other details that are probably in there that I know you don't want to give out because just there's other things going on. I totally understand that. I don't want to pressure you to put them out there, but it's just, again, how that all comes together. And another thing too is we have seen in the past, I'm not even just talking about like the stuff that's happened to you guys, but we've seen the past since the pandemic has hit, after the pandemic has hit, we've seen bands being on tours. We've seen them having some headlining runs and then all of a sudden pulling out from them because of a quote unquote better opportunity later down the line. And it's just, well, the thing that always gets from the fans' perspective, even from, the band's perspective, especially from your perspective as well, is, these tours are booked. There's commitments that are there. Now there's a lot of money in play. There's a lot of different moving parts there. And then all of a sudden a different opportunity comes around. You made that commitment. I get as an artist that you want to go forward and you want to go for the best opportunity for the band. But when you've made so much of a commitment to a certain point, you kind of have to stick with it. Otherwise, you never know what might happen, especially later down the line. Because I think even after the one that happened in 2022, there's still a lot of negativity surrounding that specific band that ended up doing something like that, especially within like the metalcore realm, where every time I see that name pop up or I hear that name pop up, I see a bunch of comments underneath it just like, remember when they did this last year? Remember when they did this? Remember when they dropped off that tour last year? And it just sticks out still in so many people's minds where there's an integrity thing that ends up coming up at that point, especially in the minds of fans. Coming from a fan standpoint myself, it's like, okay, you made this commitment. You had all these moving parts in there. You had all these other bands a part of it as well. What are they going to do when you're just like, oh, we got something better. See ya.
I mean, that's the worst part about it. It's like, when the the first time it happened, we were out with Dropout Kings actually, and it wasn't even the first day of the tour yet that the headliner dropped off. I don't want to say his name, but everyone knows who it is probably at this point. But it's like, Dropout Kings, they said immediately, there's like, well, screw that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna just rebook it ourselves, and because a lot of dates pulled out, a lot of the venues, when they realized they weren't getting that headliner,
Mhm.
they pulled out. They got scared, and something very kind of similar happened with us. I mean, like, we had our booking agent who was literally, he was on it like bees on honey. Like, it was crazy, like literally that day he said, I'm on the phone with you guys for 2 minutes and then I'm doing this. But like, there's also different scenarios and everything where it's like, you mentioned like the pandemic and everything. Like, so I bought tickets to see Architects, from like the UK,
Yep.
like before the pandemic. Like, they were supposed to play like, like months later. I think it was like April or May or something like that. We shut down in
In
March of
March.
2020. And I remember like when like venues first started reopening and stuff, they said, okay, the tickets you had for that are now valid for this tour, and we're gonna do this. We're coming to the US, to
Mhm.
do our thing. And of course, you remember we had a second wave, and as soon as that happened, a lot of states were still doing it, and a lot of states still were not doing it. So they pulled out of that tour because they knew they weren't going to make what they were going to make, doing it if all the venues are open, if all the states were allowing it and everything. And still to this day, I have not seen Architects since I bought those tickets. That was about 3.5 years ago. So it's like, but that's understandable, definitely. But like, a band getting a better opportunity, better, I don't want to say financial opportunity, but it's like, that's really what it comes down to sometimes with some people. And it sucks, it's stupid, but I don't know. We know what the offer was. I'm not going to say it anywhere because that's not our business anymore. But yeah, but that's a whole different thing altogether. You're disappointing the fans, you're disappointing, the opening bands and everything who were depending on you, to support them and everything like that. It's just kind of a real bummer, and we're still a little bit upset about it. At this point, we've kind of just let it go. I mean, we made we made our
Yeah.
peace with it. It's like we're doing what we need to make it happen.
Yeah, and it kind of comes to just also, if you guys have gone through this enough already, where it's like, okay, I mean, once is enough in the end, but this is like, again, your third time, so it's like, okay, you guys just end up putting your nose to the grindstone and just, okay, how can we make this work? What can we do around here? Let's just take this and run with it and make it the best situation we possibly can. And comparing to some of the other ones, like the whole entire thing with like architecture that you just talked about, yeah, the pandemic ended up throwing that for a complete loop. And I still remember too, I had a ticket for it was to see Bad Omens and Thousand Below in a small venue here in Milwaukee,
I have
and
a
they were
story
supposed to
about that later on, actually.
they're supposed to play on March 15th. 2020. It was the first show of mine that got canceled. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I held on to that ticket because I'm like, I still want to go see this show. But of course, as time had gone on, it's like they're playing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger shows, and they just got massive. I'm like, okay, this tour is not happening, but I can understand why, because that venue would nowhere near hold exactly what they did. And then when they end up coming through at the end of 2022, they played in front of like 1,500 people in a completely different venue. And I'm like, well, I'm still going. And Thousand Below was still on the bill anyway. So I was like, alrighty, that ends up working. But just even some of the crazier things that have happened here as well. The one thing I kind of like, from especially from your guys' perspective, especially on this one, is even though there is a lot of like, yeah, this happened again, it sucks, and there's always some sort of animosity that's going to be there. You always do look at the other side of things too. It's like, take a look at it from their perspective, even though it might not be the right way to go about it. Having that understanding allows you to kind of get a little bit of a feel for, you know what, show a little more compassion, a little more empathy, even in a time where, you really don't want to. And it I don't know, it just kind of creates a little bit more of it shows who you guys are truly, but at the same time, it just allows a lot of the fans to be like, you know what, Saving Vice, these guys, even though stuff keeps happening to them, they get it, they understand some of these things, and they're still willing to go forward and make the best situation possible. And then, I mean, take a look. I'm looking at dates. I mean, you've got dates in California, Arizona. You're going all the way around to Texas, going up the East Coast, and then coming to Ohio. When I saw the end of Ohio, I was like, damn it!
I mean,
Not coming through further than the Midwest.
So we were like super excited about the West Coast, especially because the final date of what was supposed to be our second leg was actually at Whiskey a Go Go, and that's literally a dream venue.
Oh,
Any musician, like anybody, Gladly, we are playing Chain Reaction in Anaheim. I think the 15th or 16th of
yeah,
April.
16.
That's a dream venue for me, especially. I was a big like Avenged Sevenfold fan growing up. I know they played there all the time and everything, but we're really excited about that. It's so funny that you brought up the that Bad Omens and Thousand Below show because literally, actually, the poster's behind me somewhere. It's probably out of frame right now, but so for our album Hello There, we had an album release show. It was March 7th of 2020. We played in Burlington, Vermont. We sold it out that morning. It was so cool. We were so excited. We have like, windbreakers that has a photo of the audience and the stage, like us on the stage and everything on the back of it. The place is just packed, it's super cool. And the following day, I woke up. I stayed in Vermont that night and drove to Boston. I went to Brighton, actually, Brighton Music Fest, not Brighton Music Hall, whatever it's called. And my girlfriend was there with me for that Thousand Below and Bad Omens show. And I've been a fan of Bad Omens, not Bad Omens. I love Bad Omens now. Don't get me wrong. Everyone loves Bad Omens. If you don't like Bad Omens now, just leave. Don't listen to the rest of this. Just hang up.
Thankfully, I can stay, so I'm good here.
Yeah, you're all good. Yeah, I'm talking to the audience. I'm breaking the fourth wall. But so we went to that show that night at Brighton Music Hall, and Thousand Below slayed. They were so good. There was only like 50 people there. It was really cool. It was very intimate. I got to meet all the members and everything. It was really neat. And Bad Omens was headlining that night. That's when like Noah's hair was super long and everything. So girlfriend and I go to shows. We like to have a few drinks and everything. We Uber places and whatnot. We had a hotel in town. Literally the following morning, we wake up in the hotel and she's looking at her phone. She's like, "Are you hearing about this virus that's killing people in like 3 to 4 days?" I'm like, "I haven't heard anything about that." We walk out of the hotel that day and everyone's wearing a mask. I'm like, what's going on here? And it was just so crazy how that happened. Fast forward 17 months, we're able to play a show again. Like literally 17 months to the day, we were able to play a show. We were playing up in Manchester, New Hampshire, NHB Fest. And at that point, during the pandemic, like Bad Omens just went completely silent, I remember. Because I liked, I became a fan of them during the pandemic. And I wanted to buy some of their merch one day. And I went on there, I saw their merch store was shut down. They had nothing on their Instagram. It's like, what's going on here? Then out of nowhere, they come out with The Death of Peace of Mind, just the song and the single. And next thing you know, they're like the biggest fucking band, the biggest effing band. My mistake.
Oh, you can swear. I don't give a shit.
Fucking right. All right. This will make things a lot easier.
Hell yeah.
It's amazing seeing that though. It's like I'm always a huge fan of artists who make their moves in silence. And like just seeing that, it's like they just deleted everything or they archived it, whichever. And they put out no music at all. They did a live stream, which is pretty cool. We had that idea one time, but at the time we were doing it, it was just like it wasn't financially possible, and it was just kind of washed up at that point. Venues are reopening again and everything. But it was so crazy to see, like seeing Bad Omens at Brighton Music Hall with 50 people. And the next time I saw them, they had Spirit Box opening. I think they were opening for Under Oath, actually.
Yeah.
And that whole audience was sold out. It was at House of Blues in Boston. And I'm from the Boston area, actually. I live probably like 40 minutes north of Boston. I think you're Central Time, right?
Yeah.
Not sure we were. Yeah, I remember I saw the email earlier. I was just kind of like, that's different. So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm over here in Milwaukee, really so cool. a little bit of a different. Yeah, a little bit of a different. Like you're east. I'm really like smack dab in the middle when it comes to time zone. But yeah, when it came to the whole Bad Omens thing too, I do remember that because I was still pissed that I couldn't go to that show. But I'm like, you know what? I'll get to see him at some point. And the first festival I got to go to in 2021 was Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin. And Bad Omens had been scheduled to play since 2020, so they rebooked him for 2021, and they came. But this is before the Death of Peace of Mind even came out. I'm like, I'm going to see him for the first time. This is going to be a lot of fun. Go and see him. Noah still had the long hair at this point. He hadn't cut it yet because it was like the one or two show. Like it was like the first show they were doing post-pandemic. And open with Glass Houses. I was so excited. Pit got going. I got a concussion, and 15 seconds later, security came and closed down the pit. And I'm like, well, this ain't fun. I'm like, from that point on, I always wanted, like what I always called my revenge for Bad Omens, because I wanted to hear Glass Houses again and keep going at it. But then once they came out Death of Peace of Mind, they only really played anything off of Death of Peace of Mind and then Limits into Throne, and that was it. I'm like, I need my chance. So when that headlining run came around, I was like, okay, now I can finally do this. Oh man, my friends said they saw a look in my eye when that song came on. It was like, you're gonna be the happiest and hardest hitting person in that whole entire pit. I'm like, but it's it was crazy watching that rise from where you saw him at 50 people, where I could have probably seen him at maybe 50 people too. All of a sudden, when they got that headlining run and it sold out, and venues kept upgrading them to different stages for more people, and it kept selling out. And by the time the tour started, all the upgrades were done, all the added shows were added, and everything was already sold out beforehand. It was like, my God, this is insane.
I went to their most recent one actually around here. It was the Concrete Jungle tour.
Yep, that was the one.
They were playing Worcester Palladium, which we played on our last run back in December to the Two Christmases tour, and that was really cool. My girlfriend and I upgraded to the VIP because I just wanted to just talk to them and everything, meet them and everything. I didn't really have any interesting questions. I just kind of asked how their day was, and they got a real kick out of that. It was pretty cool. Everyone's questions were like, "Oh, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite hot dog or whatever?" And I'm just kind of like, "How's your day going, man?" I know how it goes. It's like even we go around places and everything, people are always asking everything but how we're doing. And I don't know. I think they appreciate the question definitely. But I was coincidentally supposed to see them last month actually in March in London. I was going to fly over with the girlfriend and everything. We were celebrating an anniversary. And literally it wasn't financially doable. We had the tickets, we had the passes and everything. And we were like, you know what? It's like, why don't we just skip this one, and not go. But I was going to see them twice in the same tour and just have a little celebration at the same time. But yeah, I was going to ask the same question at the VIP. It's like, how's your day going? But
they've probably been like, wait, someone actually, it's you. We know you.
I do a lot of traveling. What's up?
That would have been pretty fun. I mean, you never know what might happen too. Now, just hearing this, if when it comes to you guys doing the end of winter tour, people might come up to you guys and then just come up and start asking instead of just the normal questions. Everyone might come up and just say, "Hey guys, how's your day going?" It might just be a consistent thing where by the end of the tour, you're like, "We're so sick and tired of telling people how our day is going. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. What the hell?"
On the day, yeah. I'd say if you would have asked us last Thursday how our day was going, we wouldn't have answered. We would have blocked you probably, but. No, everything worked out fine, but I'm hoping so. I'm hoping people come out and ask us how everything's going and stuff like that. And it's really like it's surreal to me when people actually listen to these and they ask me the same questions like back to me, at places and everything. And, even like people ask for like an autograph and stuff. It's like you don't need my autograph. I'm not anyone cool, but it's like I don't know. It blows my mind sometimes, but I really love it. It's really cool. I love everyone that I meet. So.
Well, the thing is, too, is like you might not think you're that cool, but like to them, you are. And the biggest reason behind that is, I mean, take a look at all the musicians that we really associate with, the ones that we really love to listen to, the ones that we connect with so heavily. We get a piece of that, like you get a piece of music from them. Maybe you get a CD, maybe you get a vinyl, you get it signed by them, or just get a poster signed by them. It adds so much like, oh my God, I have this thing where, it's like kind of like endorsed by the artist in a way. And maybe if it's personalized to them too, there's that deeper connection that gets formed with the band and with you. And it just solidifies just how much they end up meaning to you, how much their music has helped you through certain things. So again, that's why people end up going and do it. So I go and do it. I mean, if you got a chance to go up and probably, get to go see Avenged Sevenfold, do a whole entire meet and greet thing, get to ask them like a couple of questions, ask them to sign some. I mean, you're probably going to end up taking that chance like 10 times out of 10.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. It's always like really cool to hear like, how people live that we think are like way above us and everything. I did a meet and greet with Thousand Below one time actually. I drove down to New Jersey right before a headliner run last year actually. And I think there was like 4 people there for the meet and greet, and like literally it's like we chilled with them. We hung out, we did some green tea shots at the bar, it's like it was really cool like that. It's just really cool just hang with people who are perceived as like giant people, but they're just completely normal. And it's just so fucking cool to talk to them and just like, just be on their level a little bit,
I gotta ask this now. Doing the green tea shots, was that James's idea?
I think that's my girlfriend's idea, but James did not say no. And everyone joined us except for Josh Taylor. I think he, no, Josh Thomas, my mistake. I think he had a bad night the previous night with some alcohol related things. So
he was taking a break.
I follow his Twitter account pretty well, so sometimes I see it's like I feel bad from alcohol today, and it's like, ooh, that's relatable, son.
Yeah, the reason I asked about the green tea shots is when I had James on the podcast back at literally right before they played the Milwaukee Day for the Concrete Jungle tour, because I wanted to see if I could have a drink with him. He's like, if I tried finding him after the show, couldn't find him, but he said we're having a green tea shot. Like he was adamant about it. So maybe you were the ones that like you and your girlfriend unlocked the green tea shot for him. It's very possible because I couldn't believe that was the thing. I'm like, that might be the origin of James loving green tea shots.
It's funny because like it was like right before I think it was October actually of last year when we saw them, she dropped me off in New York where we meet up and everything to have rehearsal and whatnot. Literally the following week, we were down in Texas for So What Fest. I ran to him again there, and he's just like, it's like, yeah, I feel cool now, man.
It's like, it's like, you, my guy, green tea shot.
Yeah, not that they had anything like that at So What Fest, but I would have known.
Oh yeah, you definitely wouldn't know. One thing I do want to ask about the end of winter tour, because again, taking a look at dates and something you said too, but on the tour that was supposed to happen, there was supposed to be a second leg that was going to get you to new markets and get you to places you never even played, especially on the West Coast, like you mentioned, Seattle. I gotta ask, I'm taking a look at the line, like the tour listing. I'm taking a look at all the dates, but I'm also taking a look at like the places that you aren't going. And I've got to ask, is there a plan to maybe potentially do a second part to this with those venues and those places that you were planning on visiting, originally on that second leg?
I would love to say yes, I really would, but unfortunately, that's not part of it. Because literally we were days away from announcing the second leg with Vampires Everywhere when they decided to cancel and everything, and a lot of those venues decided to dip out. So it just kind of it wasn't even going to be possible, So unfortunately, but fortunately for us, our last date is in Cleveland, and on our way back to New York, we actually found a festival in Rochester. So we're gonna be playing that, and I feel like I keep going dark. My lighting is terrible in here. I just moved my desk recently, so it's like I'm just like but yeah, the silhouette is me, I promise.
Well, we'll just keep it going with the whole entire mystique of it. It's just like the Saving Vice. They've gone through some dark times. It is the end of winter.
Yeah, right. Just blur me out. Give me a different voice and everything. Like we're vampires everywhere.
We'll make it look like one of those edit like FBI confessionals where it's like the identity of this person has been removed for their own safety.
I dealt drugs for 12 and a half years, and no, nothing crazy like that. Yeah.
It's like watching Gangland all over again from Spike TV.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I remember it.
Oh man, I remember watching that show. I was like, oh, this is cool.
A second leg? No, unfortunately not. Sorry. Simple answer.
Simple. I was hoping that there might have been a second leg, because when I found out about the whole Vampires Everywhere thing, and I've been talking to some people, and I heard like, oh, maybe there's something about a second leg coming up, because of course I looked at the dates and I'm like, I've wanted to see Saving Vice since I first got to interview Tyler from beginning of like 2021. I'm like, I want to see this. I want to do this every single time. No dates are coming by me. I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I mean, I'm just gonna say the year is still young. We have plans for other things, and nothing's set in stone right now. But we're always looking to get out and see places we haven't seen yet, and just kind of meet our friends and everything that we know only from online and things like that. So keep your hopes up.
I will keep my hopes up. There's another thing I do want to ask and be curious about, because I've heard some people talk about this and I want to know where this is coming from. I've heard people talk about you guys trying to get on the lineup for Blue Ridge 2023. Is that a thing that's trying to happen right now?
It would be great if it happened. I just not a lot I can say about that. I would love to play that festival though. There's a lot of awesome bands at that, including Thousand Below and Bad Omens, who we just talked about. It's like I think they're both on that. But
yeah, but I believe so. I mean, Bad Omens always ends up playing that thing because it's the Virginia connection with them.
Oh yeah, right. I know they're from the Richmond area. I think at least Noah is. But like all I'm gonna say is if we end up on that, we're gonna build a tour around it. So let's keep your eyes open for an announcement if there is an announcement. Like I said, I don't know anything, but I really don't know anything, actually. I don't want to make it too mysterious, but yeah.
Because I heard some people talk about, especially they're looking like, okay, we got the last couple of spots in the lineup. Who should we go and get? And I've heard people talk about, you guys trying to get. I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do to get Saving Vice on that lineup. And if you guys do it and there'd be a tour planned around there, I'm like, now who would go out with Saving Vice for something like that? And there is one band that stands out beyond belief that is also going to be at Blue Ridge. That would be the perfect band for you guys to go out with. And I believe you guys on your like October run last year, you were in Florida and you guys got to perform with the lead singer for one song.
Talking about Tom.
What was that? Oh yeah, I'm talking about Tom.
67? Yeah. Oh, he is so cool. I like him so much.
Dude, I always want to ask about that. What was that like with the moment where all of a sudden you guys are playing at a venue in Florida and Tom is on his freaking honeymoon, comes to see you guys perform, and then gets to perform with you guys on stage? How did that all happen? Like
That was
this is
literally one of the coolest things. So we're really friendly with him just from like online and everything. We did a actually a vocal swap with them last year where we took one of their songs, they took one of ours, and literally just put our own vocalists on each other's tracks. And it was a really cool idea. We got a lot of their fans, they got a lot of our fans and everything. Because as you know, they're from like way the fuck out of here. They're like in like the furthest part of Australia, Perth,
Mhm.
and it's like that's awesome. But I know he was in like, he's in the States and everything. He's enjoying his honeymoon. They're doing like Disney and everything like that. And he's like, I'm gonna come out to you guys a show. And as soon as we got there, he was literally at the bar getting a White Claw or something. And Tyler walks up to him. He's like, "Hello there," and it's just like, "Yo!" And next thing you know, he's in our van checking it out and everything. He's talking to us about what they're doing, what we're doing. It's like everything like that. Like I would love to be on a tour of Patient 67. It is so cool knowing that they're going to be in the US for the Blue Ridge Fest. And it's like, hopefully we're on that or at least attending. I would love to attend even if we don't play, but it's like, that is so damn cool. It's like, they're from Australia. And it's like, dude, like, that's amazing. It's like, I'm happy for them, definitely.
Oh yeah, and it's not just like Australia being like the parts that you think if you don't think Melbourne, Sydney, you're not thinking that. I mean, they're from Perth, they're from the western coast of Australia, so getting anywhere for them is like, how is this possible? When I saw them on the Blue Ridge lineup, I just like, okay, this is insane. Fortunately, can't make it to Blue Ridge this year, so I'm hoping that they end up building like some dates or having some dates afterwards so that they can at least not just do one spot in the United States and then call it a day. But that's where I'm like, if we now I'm thinking we get Saving Vice somehow on that Blue Ridge line, one of the last spots, you guys start building a little bit of a tour around that, and then all of a sudden get Patient 67 on there. The crazy part about that whole entire thing is I was watching Patient 67's rise, especially with how they're connecting with people online, how they've stayed connected, positivity every which way, and connecting it with you guys as well. It'd be something where venues would be wanting to have you guys because you guys would definitely bring the draw. But then all of a sudden, the people would also come into because everyone, if you're online, if you like metalcore, you know who Patient 67 is. So you guys would be playing venues, maybe 200-300 cap venues, and they'd be selling out. I could almost guarantee it, just based on that fact of everyone be like, oh my God, Patient 67's here. We know Saving Vice. This is going to be something we don't want to miss because who the hell knows when we're going to ever get a chance like this again.
That could be like definitely a dream tour. It's like, that'd be super cool. Like, I didn't meet the rest of the members. I literally only met Tom, and it's like, literally, he is like just like the nicest, happiest dude. He is made of sunshine and nothing else. Even his wife was just like as happy as he is. It's like, this is so cool to meet them and stuff. And then we were like, you know what, get on stage with us. They did because he did guest vocals for the song that we did the vocal swap on. So it's like it was familiar to him. It was very easy and everything. We had our we brought a photographer out with us, James Perry, actually, awesome guy, and he took a video of it and everything for us. And like seeing that, I was like, wow, it's like he sounds so good. He just like looks really cool and natural with us. It's like we need to make this like an every night thing. It's just like just make it happen. Just find some sort of way.
Find some sort of way to just take him and his wife with you. Like, okay, we're going to this venue now. We're going here. We're going here. You're gonna be honeymooning in now you're gonna be honeymooning in Columbia, South Carolina, just because that's where we're gonna be playing tonight. Come
Why
on,
not? It's get an RV. There's Walmart parking lots everywhere. It's like it's gonna happen. It's fun.
Give him a taste of what it's like to tour in the U.S. before he actually does it.
It was just so super cool meeting him though. It's so funny thinking about it too because you see people like on their images online, their photos and everything. I didn't realize he was like literally taller than all of us. Like, I'm like 6'3". He is like literally an inch taller than me, Tyler, and Robbie. We're all like around the same height. But we were just like, wow, it's like we didn't know you were so giant, but it's like just really really funny to me.
That kind of surprised me because every time I look at him, like I think he's like 5'8", 5'9" at the most. And
I
if
know
I
that
would,
they have
and
like a
now it's
guitarist who's taller than him, and it's just like wow.
yeah, it's like I thought their guitarist was like probably like my size, like 6', 6'1". All of a sudden now I'm gonna end up standing next to Tom and be like, hey buddy, how's it going? Like it's gonna scare me. It's gonna be it's gonna be something I'm not expecting. But now it's like I gotta prepare my mind for it because the first thing to see Page 67, I gotta imagine Tom is actually a larger human than I actually understand him to
I was
be.
amazed when I saw him. I was like, "There's no way that's Tom sitting at the bar." I was like, "Wow." But like, who else would be good on that tour with us? Who else do you think?
I'm
Besides,
trying to I'm trying to think now because like I'm thinking about you. I mean, Patient 67 is the is like one of the like one that's in or Dark Divine from Florida.
oh yeah, actually we met them. We did I have the poster behind me. Oh, never mind. That's Dead Reckoning. My mistake. I
Okay.
mixed up bands. I do that all the time, actually.
Yeah, that'd be one other one I'd definitely put with you guys would be Dark Divine.
Yeah, all right. No, I've heard of them definitely. I thought it was that band. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
not. But whoops. I
Nah,
bet that's awesome too, though.
yeah, because it's cause I saw them on the because right now I think they're doing the tour with Until I Wake and Catch Your Breath, and
Oh, yeah.
I saw them on the first night of that tour, and it was just because I've had them on the podcast where I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see what these guys bring out live, and it's basically I'm like I watch I'm like if you want more of that like same feel you get like watching Motionless in White or Ice Nine Kills play, Dark Divine will give you the exact same feel with a whole different sound. It's just but it's still heavy, it's still fast paced, it's still just woo! So I'm like thinking Saving Vice, Page 67, Dark Divine. Oh my god.
That sounds like fun to me. It's funny you mentioned that Until I Wake too, actually, because I've actually wanted to see them live since they got signed to Fearless. I think it was like 2 years ago. And they came to an area close to me, but I was on tour at the time, unfortunately. But I saw the other day that they have a bunch of dates in July, I think, with Thousand Below, and I was like, oh, I'm too jealous. Like, what the hell? But it's like I would love to see them live, definitely. They're from Buffalo, New York, which is only like 5-6 hours from me. So I don't want to say it's local, but I have a lot of friends in Buffalo. So yeah, but that'd be really cool to see them and meet them and hang out with them and stuff. But that'd be they'd be killer on that. I think sorry, I'm like totally just mumbling
Oh,
now.
oh, just keep going, man. But I know you got something in your head. Just keep going.
I'm thinking like the perfect tour right now, like in my eyes, with like bands like on our level and everything, or like slightly higher or whichever. It'd be us, Saving Vice, Patient 7, like you said, Until I Wake, and I'm actually really loving Enox. Do you know Enox?
No.
So half are from New Jersey, half are from Georgia. Actually, I'm gonna plug them real quick because they gave me this hat for free when we played the Palladium with them back in December. It's looks orange on my screen, but it's actually bright ass pink. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm taking that on tour with me. But I think they're out right now, actually, on the explicit content tour.
Who's that with?
Oh, I'd love to tell you it. And so every time I see the flyers for that, it's always the same flyer but with different bands on it, so I get a little confused,
Okay.
that kind of thing. But I believe our booking agent's actually putting on that as well. But yeah, but Enox, they're from like I said they're all from New Jersey, but half of them moved down to Georgia, and they just literally have a house together. We stayed with them back on the headliner tour, and like, they're all just like literally just living there. They have a basement that's full of equipment and guitars and everything. Their vocalist Michael does all their recording in their basement. It's just they have an awesome setup. So yeah,
I had to pull them up. It looks like right now they're down with downsizing and a sense of purpose.
that sounds about right, actually. Yeah.
All right, so I got the right one. Thank God. But yeah, but that would be like just thinking about that tour too, because it's if we had that together, you guys plus Patient 67. I mean, like that's just a match made in heaven. Honestly, you throw Until I Wake in there, especially you've got a band you got the Fearless backing behind them too. They've got the headline experience as well, and seeing them perform live, it's because I got to see them perform live. I think it was they got a random spot on Louder Than Life last year, and I'm like, oh cool, let's see what they got. And then at the beginning of this current tour that they're on, and it was they knew Alexis, they knew what the hell they were doing up there. It was the drive, the movement of the show, everything was just right there. So it was a hell of a lot of fun. Having them on that with you guys would just make a lot of sense too, because I could just see that kind of like the flow from show, like potentially Enox, Patient 67, you guys, Until I Wake. That'd be one where it's just like, again, easy, like 300 cap rooms. It's like, okay, everyone's going to want to go and see this shit because of everything that's going on here. And it'd be like the metalcore positivity tour, mostly because all of a sudden it's just, yeah, you could have like the cool tour poster and then just put Tom's face on top of it.
Pretty much, actually. Yeah. Or his cat, because he loves his cat.
Oh, yeah. You screw Tom's in. Put Tiffany on it.
Yeah, exactly. Is that the cat's name?
Yep.
I can never remember. So it's like, yeah, but no, that's awesome. I'm a cat guy myself. I have a Spanx cat actually in the other room named Victor. So yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, Until I Wake though, it's like, those guys, all of them definitely have a lot of experience in the live setting. It's like, they just know how to do it. It's like I never heard of any of their members before that band was formed. and I think they formed during the pandemic, and
Yeah.
there were songs like Octane, and like well, that's the one I really like the most actually is Octane, but like, it's such a good song, and it's like it's nostalgia from like from what we used to listen to back in the day and everything. I'm 35, so my scene was like kind of way back when, but yeah, I was
Yeah.
I was really stoked the other day when AFI did their 20 years Sing the Sorrow show. I
Oh
watched
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I think it was like 2 in the morning. I'm watching it on my iPad in bed, and I was like, "Wow, that is so cool." They're playing it in its entirety. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
because I mean they were recording this. It's the last day of the like Rise Against Doom, the last day of their residency at the Metro in Chicago that holds like maybe 350 people, and it's like okay, seeing them play stuff from like their first two albums and people just going absolutely nuts to it. It's something where it's just like you watching that show from AFI. There's just this different kind of feel, this different kind of like it's a nostalgia in a way, but at the same time, it's like we get to do this still now, and everything just sounds just as good. Like it would feel just as good. Like, come on, we can't miss out on this. This is too damn cool.
no, it's amazing, definitely. It's like especially bands we used to listen to like way back when. But I will say though, and I hate to say this so much, you see the MCR flag behind me just
Mm-hmm.
chilling. So I went to their reunion tour and everything. I don't want to say I was kind of disappointed by their performance, but it's like they didn't speak to the audience the entire time. They played like 30 songs straight through, didn't say hello, didn't say anything. It almost just seemed like like a giant cash grab. Like I was just a little like I was thrown off. I wasn't like as because I saw them in 2006, like literally the day they released the Black Parade. It's my birthday actually. They were playing a club in Boston called the Axis, which is like only like a 500 capacity room at the time. It's now part of the House of Blues there, but it's like they did one of those things where it was like a curtain drop kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
and like literally the curtain dropped, and I was able to grab their ankles. They were that close, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And now like what 15 years later or so, it's just kind of like they come out, they're playing their stadiums and everything, but it's just kind of like there was just no audience engagement at all. It's like they didn't even know we were there. It seemed like which is kind of a cool thing at the same time. They're just kind of just playing for themselves a little bit, but no, definitely a great show. They played a lot of great songs, a lot of B sides and everything. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think they would ever play live, but that was a great show. But I just found the performance to be a little bit like I don't know, like they went a little broke and just need to make some more money. So yeah.
Like can be because I've seen performance like that too, and they always come across as somewhat disengaging, especially from the fans' perspective. Because as great as this for the band, just to play a bunch of kick-ass music and go from there, there's a difference where it's just if the band's just going up there playing, not even recognizing the audience, and then kind of goes off. There's something that feels like there's a missing because if I wanted to do that, I would just stay at home, put on your record, put on headphones and call it a day. But it's just like there's something there that that interaction can drive a lot more than there's something about it. And I always think about Shinedown, Brent Smith. When it comes to like creating a live show like atmosphere, addressing the crowd, really driving that energy. There's very few people that can do it better than him. And it's just no matter what's going on, even what they have sometimes those longer breaks in between, it's the connection with the fans and just the power that brings from there is incredible. But it's just finding that balance between you want to play as much music as possible to give the fans as much as they are paying for. They're paying customers, it's a paying ticket, it's a concert. But at the same time, you kind of want to address them to create that whole entire, not gonna say that whole entire just connection where it's you guys are in the audience, you're here to see us. We want to make that connection between the two of you or the two of us and have a good time. Or it's like seeing if you ever had a chance to see a Void play, oh my god, just the energy and the connection to the people on stage from them coming out on stage and just always coming and connecting with the crowd, just screaming at them high energy as possible. Absolutely fantastic. Like that's one you got to go and see if you haven't seen it yet.
That's awesome. I love that show. I've never seen A Void actually, but it sounds like fun. I've never even seen Shinedown live, but I heard they put on an amazing show. But I see it now actually in your background. You have a We Came as Romans poster.
Yep.
They put on an incredible performance. Like no, I've seen them like 3 or 4 times. I have never been disappointed. I saw them I think it was 2 years ago with
Uh,
Devil.
uh, yep.
Yeah, that was a great show. They're doing their the 10-year anniversary, or was it 20-year? No, I
It
think it was
was
20.
it was supposed to be the 10-year anniversary to plant a seed, but they had that planned, but then the pandemic hit, so it got pushed back a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah. Still, either way, that was an awesome performance. That was so cool. I love seeing them. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I got
everything I do on stage, I base off of their bass player Andy Glass. Like
nice.
That ass serious. It's like, he can spin while he plays. I can do that now too. Like
It works and it adds so much more to the show. But even bring up We Came as Romans too, because I remember that specific show for the one that I got to see, because it was they played in Milwaukee. It was on Halloween night. So Devil Wears Prada came out playing. It was because I'm trying to think. Hollow Front came out because they played first, and all the guys were dressed differently. But Tyler was dressed as Donald Trump.
Oh Jesus.
Because I talked to him before about it, so he's like, "Yep, I don't remember much of that show. I had too much Jack Daniels before that one."
That'd be the last thing I'd probably do. Like I don't want to get political on this, but I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do it, but I'm like, you know what? People got a kick out of it. It was funny. Dayseeker came out, and they were all dressed as the Avengers, except Rory decided not to be Iron Man and be Deadpool instead.
Really? Is he actually technically even part of the Marvel, like that MCU right now? Like,
I honestly have no idea.
I feel like he's making his way into it, but we'll see what happens. Like I don't know. They do a lot of crazy things with that series. I do love the Marvel movies. I'm not like a huge diehard fan or anything. I'm more Star Wars, to be honest. But I watch all of it though, just to see to see it and keep up with it and everything. Tyler, our vocalist, loves Marvel. He loves the Avengers. He's also a big Star Wars fan. That's kind of really how we connect on a lot of things.
Oh yeah, and I still remember even like just kind of continuing on with that. Like Devil Wears Prada came out, they were all dressed as cowboys, every single one of them. And then when We Came as Romans came out, all of them were dressed in like these overly baggy suits. And Dave basically looked like, modern day Fred Durst, but in a suit. It was one of the most ridiculous things. They did a whole entire skit and everything with Devil Wears Prada, and they came out on stage and they were like throwing stuff into the audience, having a good time. But I'll never forget the time I saw him. This was last year. I was at Welcome to Rockville, and it was like 95 degrees, humid out. It was just god awful, just heat wise. We had a rain delay. And then it came back. I was trying to get in the pit, but I just could not handle the heat. I was struggling. We Came as Romans was ready to go on, and sun was down, humidity dropped, temperature dropped, and it started raining again. But no thunder and lightning to start up, but it was coming. So they didn't know how long they were going to have to play. So they reconfigured their set list to put as the heaviest songs are going to play up front, and then whatever was going to happen later on was ever going to happen later on. They got through 6 songs. And the pit was sloshy as all hell, but I've never seen a crowd so into every single note of every single song than that moment, because rain plus mosh pit plus now we have relief from the heat and we get to see this, and the rain just kept getting heavier and heavier.
It's so climactic sounding. It's like you're like describing the Matrix Revolutions to me. Like the final fight. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so damn good. But it's like the final fight they have where it's like all the rain and everything, all the Agent Smiths are watching and whatnot. It's like, that just sounds so cool. We did one festival actually in Brooklyn a couple years back when we did the first Dropout Kings tour. And it rained right before we played and everything. So they're trying to dry off like the outside stage and everything. But it was kind of miserable, honestly. It wasn't anything crazy like that. People were just kind of like, yeah, we're not going inside because it's raining. And it's like, come on, but it's all good. Still, it was a pretty fun show. So
that's I kind of want to see you guys get on that Blue Ridge lineup, because then you guys can play outside, and if it starts to rain, they're not going to cancel it. And you get to see people just go nuts in the pit, sloshing around, having an absolute blast. And I would love to be there to be in part of that, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to be at the festival. But I'm hoping you guys are end up making it there and then get to go on this incredible run with Patient 67 afterwards. Speak this tour into existence with you guys, Enox, Patient 67, and Until I Wake. I want to see it happen. That'd be insane.
Let's make it happen. Post it everywhere. Make it happen. Tag everyone.
Let's make it happen. Well, Kenjamin, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, one thing I like to do is give my guest, which is you in this instance, a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the episode. So, Kenjamin, floor is yours.
Come out to the shows.
The best way to put it. Come out to the shows.
Come out to the shows. I try and keep it simple, but thank you to everyone who's watching and everything. And we're really glad to be hitting the road again and seeing you all. And hopefully it's an amazing run as we want it to be, Hopefully Vampires Everywhere is bumming about this because it was going so well. So yeah.
Hopefully, they're looking back like, man, we could have been still on that run, but darn.
No, honestly, best wishes to them and their careers and everything, and what they decide to do next and everything. So yeah, no ill will or anything like that. So yeah, keeping us all positive.
Well said. Well, now it's time for this podcast with 3 things. First things first, the end of winter tour with Saving Vice and having on some dates Mirror Lake and Scythe Gang 666. That tour is going to start on April 13th. This episode's going to be out on April 12th. I'm already going to say it right now. So literally, this tour is going to start tomorrow if you're watching this on the day that it came out. So go and get your tickets now. Do not miss out on a day, especially if you have a chance to go and see this, because you will not be disappointed. I've never had a chance to see the band, but I know you're not going to be disappointed because I've heard nothing but positive things. Also, make sure you're following them on all their social media accounts so you know everything that's happening, because you never know what happens if they get that spot at Blue Ridge. If you guys just start posting on Blue Ridge and saying, put Saving Vice on the lineup, you never know what might happen, because we might see them go out on a run with Patient 67 in September when they come and play Blue Ridge. It's very possible to happen. You're not going to miss on that. So the best way to do that, description of the podcast where it says find Saving Vice online, links and labels for literally everything. You're not going to miss out on it. So go and do that. I'm doing all the heavy lifting for you. All you got to do is go down, click, and take it from there. Now, because your time's for the second thing. Whenever guests in the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise. Tyler's been on the podcast twice, and he's hit on this promise twice. And you, sir, are taking it once again. So my promise to you is this. It's not an if. It's a when, because when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will go all Liam Neeson on your ass. I will use a particular set of skills to look for you. I will find you, and I will look you down the eye and say, hey, man, first round's on me.
I love it.
And you're not going to have to find, I'll be the one to find you. It's not going to be like Tom where he's sitting at the bar. It's like, wait, is that Tom? And it's like, wait, is that Kevin? It's like, no, I'll be the one to be like, hey,
don't
guys.
see me, call me a name, push me down or something like that, kick me in the legs. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Oh, you guys will probably see, like, who the hell is the crazy guy in the Milwaukee Brewers hat in the pit? Kevin's here, isn't he? And all of a sudden just hits somebody. Hey, guys.
Oh, I know your face now. I remember you.
Nice. Alrighty. And now it's time.
I'm way better with faces and names. I promise you that.
Perfect. And now it's time for number 3. I cannot end this podcast. I'll get conscious by saying goodbye, because I made you a promise to see you perform live. First round's on me, making it happen. And this is the third time I've had the band Saving Vice in the podcast. First time with you. I know it's going to happen again in the future. So goodbye is not going to be a thing. No. It's going to be, I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome. Woo! Well, folks, that's my interview with Kenjamin for the band Saving Vice. And now it is time for Kevin's final thoughts. So these guys in the past calendar year have gone through as much as you possibly can. And I will say the names of the ones that we know. So when it comes to the tour with Little Xan, the one that one got canceled and their whole entire van fiasco happened, that Dre were on with Dropout Kings, and Dropout Kings end up getting something going. They could help salvage that tour. Then there was the second one, and now this one with Vampires Everywhere, and the band ends up coming out the end of winter tour, gets a bunch of dates going, and they've got more still to come in terms of the rest of the year. I look at these guys from Saving Vice and I say, when it comes to a band, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's always going to be bumps in the road. Nothing's going to go the way that they planned, because in life, nothing ever goes the way that we planned. I mean, I'm taking a look at myself right now. I take a look at where I'm at this very moment. What I would have planned for? I would have planned for a much more podcast success than I've had, but I'm still getting there. I would have planned for my car not to completely die and have for me to go and buy a new one now, but I got to go and deal with that. So you got to deal with these things head on and just like figure out a way to do it. Saving Vice is the metalcore and the metal rock, anything music equivalent of that. They are the Never Say Die moniker. They are the I Didn't Hear No Bell, one more round type, band. And it's something that is really bringing a lot more positivity to them. You're seeing how it's like, this stuff happens. How can we make this work? Yeah, even with Vampires Everywhere going, it's like, yeah, there might be a little bit of resentment there, but they're looking like they still wish them the most amount of success, because if a band succeeds, especially in the scene in the pop culture, we see that rise. We were talking about Bad Omens during the podcast. Their rise has helped metal out tremendously. And we're seeing it happen too. Bring Me the Horizon did it. Trying to think. I know Catch Your Breath's catching up on TikTok as well. There's a lot of different bands that's like when they do well, especially in pop culture, and more people have their eyes on metal. A lot of these bands that we love, that we know are incredible and are coming up, they're the ones that are going to be able to also benefit from it based on more ears listening to that sound. So Saving Vice ain't going away. These guys just keep on trucking. These guys just keep on figuring it out. And I hope to God that they not only get on that Blue Ridge lineup, but I also absolutely hope that they get to do a run right around that Blue Ridge time and afterwards with Patient 67. I want to see that happen. We got to see Tom Kiley have some fun across the United States. And the only band to have him do it with that's going to be perfect for him is Saving Vice. So when it comes to finding Saving Vice online, go link to the description of the podcast where it says Find Saving Vice online and get your tickets for the End of Winter Tour. Starts on the 13th. This episode came out on the 12th. It starts literally tomorrow in Sacramento, California. Go and get your tickets if you have a chance. Go and see these guys perform live. Also, make sure to follow us on the Chord Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Mostly Facebook and Instagram. You can find out all these different crazy things that are going on with the podcast, all these different little tidbits and short material. On top of that, we do Instagram live streams every single Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not, where you can watch these interviews. We're also now doing Friday reaction videos as well, so we're adding that a little bit to the repertoire. And on top of that, if you're going to listen on audio, hit that subscribe button on Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, wherever it might be. Want to give a huge thank you to you guys for subscribing. Also, thank you to Phoenix Fitness for sponsoring this podcast. Remember, 20% off. Use the code CPP20 at FNX.com, description of the podcast. Thank you, Kenjamin. First round's on me. I will go all Liam Neeson to find it when I finally get to see you guys play live. I also do it to Tyler, too, but he wasn't here for this one, so he doesn't get 3. So on that note, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. It's a big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!
Yeah.